Il gruppo dei Verdi.
Colleagues, 30 years ago, the wall did not just fall, it was brought down by very courageous people, people who took a very high and very concrete personal risk, and they fought for fair and free elections, for the freedom of expression, for an end to being caged in and under constant observations. All those things that we take granted right now. But back then, those demands could get you into prison, they could get you tortured, lose your job, and lose your social connections. But despite all of those risks, people took to the streets, organized already long before '89, and never gave up. And it is this courage that changed the world, and it's this courage that's still changing the world today. Because also today, we need to be vigilant not to forget the lessons from '89. Democracy needs to be gained every day, again and again, in every action that we do here in this House, but also everywhere in Europe. Unfortunately, there are governments right now who are trying to dismantle democracy bit by bit. And this is a disgrace, especially given the sacrifices that the citizens in countries like Hungary did to free their country. And those who shut down universities, those who arrest civil society and build walls against refugees, those are betraying the demonstrators from '89. Freedom is something that needs to be expanded every day as well. And too many people are still not free in this world, not free for who they are, whom they love, or where they're from. And we are all citizens of this world, born free and born equal. Discrimination and hatred should not prevail. Freedom of expression is also being curbed when hatred and threats are being issued and used against people active in politics, active in their communities. When people there are faced with threats on everyday level, then this is a problem for freedom of expression as well as democracy. And constant observation is also becoming a trend again, but we should never forget what history teaches us. Surveillance, a control state, does not lead to freedom or security. It ends both. We don't know what the future will bring, and any law we do here always needs to work also when governments don't mean well. Things have changed a lot over the past years. Over the past 30 years especially. If we look at the border zone now that once divided Germany, where hundreds of people lost their lives trying to cross, looking for freedom, often also being assisted by other people who helped them. This area is now a nature protection area, safeguarding climate and biodiversity for the future generations and becoming a symbol of hope. The borders that divided Europe have now become places where people meet, get to know each other. But let's not forget, there are many walls still up today that need to be torn down. There are many people today, as back then, who are looking for freedom. Let us not turn our back on them. Let us not forget what it means to look for freedom, to not have it, and then to gain it. Without the courageous people 30 years ago, I wouldn't be here, and many colleagues wouldn't be either. Europe, as we know it, only exists because the wall that divided us all finally was torn down. But the 9th of November, '89 is not a date where we should hold commemoratory speeches and just congratulate each other on how well it all worked back then. I believe it is an anniversary to remind us to be courageous, to tear down the walls that divide us, and to be the change that we want to see in the world. Thank you.